his next bunch of films that came out shortly after The Toy, right? There's Move-In, there's Critical Condition.
Right, Brewster's Millions.
Might get,
Superman 3.
Right, Superman 3. Only a few years after that, we're talking about maybe like 2 or 3, is it either Critical Condition or Move-In? Those were like, what, like around 85, 86?
86.
Harlem Nights is like 89.
Yes.
Yes.
All right? Man, do you see the fiscal difference in Richard Pryor within just 3 years. Yeah. Because at least like in films like Move-In and Critical Condition, whatever you want to say about those films, he's up, he's active, he's doing something. But in Harlem Nights, they have it so that he's constantly sitting all the time. And you could tell that it's shot, so he'd have to involve himself in the least amount of physical behavior as possible, or they have him walking at him with a cane,
Well, yeah, it's the same thing with See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
It's really hard to... And while I applaud the decision to bring him into the film, he was really deteriorating at that time.
And then, if you watch his last really major film, Another You, with Gene Wilder, you can really see it.
It's depressing to watch him at that point, because you could tell he has a hard time moving around, and the jokes just, they don't click.
And then,
which is one of the reasons why JoJo Dancer is hard to watch. Well, because he when that film came out, that was coming out around that time. Came out before Harlem Nights.
Yeah.
But you could see him having that issue with being mobile, right, in the film, and yet he's trying to play himself.
Well, then there was the one film he did do while he was in the middle of multiple sclerosis, which was his really more of a cameo in Lost Highway. Where, he's on a motor scooter since he can't really walk anymore.
Right. He was in Lost Highway.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's... Oh, wow. I want to go back to Harlem Nights, only because that was supposed to be his last hurrah in a weird kind of way. It was a film that was meant to showcase him, Red Fox, all this stuff. It would be this big homage to all these guys that Eddie Murphy claimed.
Right, Robin Harris,
he
Charlie
was
Murphy,
a fan of.
Arsenio Hall.
And the film didn't do well. Eddie Murphy blamed it on the fact that no one wanted to see a dark Eddie Murphy, because he kept saying, well, my role is darker than normal.
Well,
it's like,
oh, no, he was just a lazy
You're just
director.
playing Eddie Murphy and shooting people.
Well, I think it would have worked more if it had been made, let's say, even 5 years earlier, when, you still had Red Fox maybe a little bit more in his prime, Richard Pryor a little more healthy, and Eddie Murphy when he was at the peak of his stardom, and probably had somebody else direct it, because, a skilled director...
Or write it.
Well, my thing is...
It's all... They're trying to do a, Cotton Comes to Harlem kind of thing.
I can understand that, but as he said, all the funny stuff happened off screen. That's a film where if you let all of them ad-lib, you'd have a great movie in of yourself.
Right. But with all the jokes, which there really aren't that many, as I remember.
Which are scripted.
It's like all the dramatic stuff with Danny Aiello and Michael Lerner's character, their whole subplot, trying to, I guess, the whole war between them and Murphy and Pryor. It doesn't work. It's just too serious.
It kind of reminds me of another film, City Heat, in a way.
Yeah, it's a lot like...
It's where the potential's there. You're like, wow, this could be such a, Eastwood, Reynolds, 1930s, this could be kind of cool, and then the project, but then you see it like, oh.
And they kill Richard Roundtree, which still pisses me off.
Yeah, well, the whole idea of that, but that was supposed to be a Blake Edwards movie.
Yeah.
And he left the project. And so they went to someone even better, Richard Benjamin, right, to direct it. It's not about that. but the point is that Harlem Nights, it was a film. I remember when they were like promoting it, saying they had all these people, and they were like, oh, this is going to be the best, because you just know Red Fox from, Sanford and Son. But
yeah, he was
the vanguard of comedy and stuff. Now you can see the real Red Fox, and we got Richard Pryor, and grew up on Richard. It's Eddie Murphy's directing debut, and it's gonna be a dark Eddie Murphy. This is like and you're like, how is he dark in this film? He just playing Axel Foley.
He shoots women and his friends,
right? Which is not very funny. It's just weird, And it's like he's not dark. He did a couple of concert films just prior to that. We already talked about Live in a Sunset Strip.
Yeah, he did Here and Now.
Here and Now.
The mid-'80s.
That was like the last theatrical.
Yeah, that one was really bad.
Yeah, there's one that just was not very good. It might have been Here and Now.
I remember that one. He would perform at anniversaries for like the Comedy Store, but those were more
Comedy Central special once, right, where he was in the wheelchair.
But I never watched that because it was just too sad at that point.
All right.
And I know, like, he got the Mark Twain Award when he was in the middle of his disease, and they televised that when he got that. And
so we got, I mean, in his personal life, he had a famous, rather infamous freebasing accident, right? He's freebasing his car and all that stuff, and he claimed that he stopped freebasing after that, but he did not stop the drugs.
No.
What was his last project? Whether it was televised, was that the concert he did for Cinema Central, Comedy Central, when he was
It might have been
Central,
the
Comedy
Lifetime
Central?
Achievement thing.
Was that the Mark Twain?
Yeah, the Mark Twain. I mean, he did an episode of Chicago Hope, and
and he was on the show Malcolm and Eddie too for appearance.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't even seen that.
Well, I looked up mine.
But I think like Another You might have been his last theatrical film.
Yeah.
So I remember.
And it wasn't funny at all.
Did you ever watch his children's show? I don't
Yes,
think I ever
Pryor's
saw it.
Place.
Only recently on YouTube.
I watched it when it used to come on as a child, and you know he would introduce and talk to some of the characters in it. But you know it was almost like kind of a clean after-school neighborhood special. You know, it would be the equivalent now of taking a popular dirty comedian and then giving him a kid show just because he's popular.
Right.
You know, something that would never happen today.
Was it funny though? Did it translate?
It wasn't really supposed to be funny. It was more like a coming-of-age kid show.
Okay.
So it wasn't really comedic.
It had a nice theme song by Ray Parker Jr., by the way.
It was kind of like a kid's version. Think of like how Lily Tomlin had her specials with Richard Pryor on it, where it'd be like little slices of life mixed in with maybe some comedy, but it was more about being character and human. Richard Pryor hosted a very memorable Saturday Night Live episode, you know, where he not only is the Black Samurai with John Belushi, but then there's that whole word association with Chevy Chase.
Right. Which was brilliant.
He had his own variety show after SNL.
Yes, he did.
And then they tried to make it into an NBC series, which they quickly canceled.
Right, they censored the hell out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can buy it uncut on DVD and see skits on YouTube, and it's actually really hilarious. It has like Robin Williams as a cast member, John Witherspoon,
Marshall
Warfield, Sandra Bernhard, and...
Do you think there's anybody today that is a Richard Pryor type?
It would more have to
Chappelle.
see how they're...
Yeah, Dave Chappelle, I would say, is
If we're talking stand-up, yes,
Yeah.
but I guess if we were talking overall arc of a career, no.
He had the potential to go there.
Yeah,
he really did, and I really liked Dave Chappelle. I thought the show was awesome, and I fucking loved Block Party. I thought that movie was both a good documentary and a great concert film. Richard Pryor, his legacy, his films. It was kind of a loose discussion, folks, because honestly, we weren't as prepared as we should have been. However, I think we had a good conversation. Please give us your thoughts on Richard Pryor. His eclectic career as both a stand-up comedian and a film actor.
His legacy.
Yes.
And did Richard Pryor ever want to direct anything? And when he started his production company, did he ever try to like start a project that he could direct?
He only did JoJo Dancer.
That's just it, right?
And he directed Here and Now, the concert film.
So there you go. Andre Joseph, what's your blog, my friend?
Yes, you can follow me as the Mother Brain on Coast Blog, where you can check out my underrated actors blogs and my movie reviews, and you can follow me on Twitter at MotherBrain830.
Jeff Galashaw,
Unfinished B1 on Twitter.
Yeah, but that's flashed up already.
Oh, excuse me.
No, seriously. No, you have a Facebook group. It's Unfinished Business.
It's television,
right? And also your Unfinished Business Twitter feed is Unfinished B1.
Yes.
And you're keeping the CineFiles blog alive,
yes,
cinephilestv.blogspot.com.
Exactly.
Check out our colleagues at thisisinfamous.com. A lot of great contributors there, a lot of good stuff going on there, as well as the CineFiles. And check out our Facebook group and our Facebook page. We got two things going on. The group acts like our forum. Join in the discussions, have your own CineFiles like debate, arguments, whatever. I am Eric Cohen. I'm tired. The coffee didn't work. I'm signing off. Richard Pryor, we miss you. Loved your work. Sorry you had to go when you did. Yeah. Bye!